So many disciples in the Northwest have great ideas on making disciples and building family. And that's the heart of what we're getting at today. Josh, I just want to ask you a bit of your history. How did you become a disciple?
Whew. Starting off hot. Starting off with a deep one. I Man, that's becoming a trickier and trickier question for me to answer. I'll explain. I grew up on the East Coast. In our family of churches, I was born in Boston, lived in the DC area for the majority of my life, and right around the time I became a teenager, I had some incredible mentors who slowed down, were very patient with me, and just taught me scripture slowly but surely. Broke down my extremely weak character as a teen, and just helped me to see that there was a better way to do all of this. I considered myself a believer, kind of, because I had grown up going to church, but I had I had nothing resembling a relationship with Jesus. And so to discover that slowly but surely at 13, 14, 15, it changed my life. And so I've been rocking like that ever since. I was baptized in November of '06. But that's not the question you asked. You asked, how did I become a disciple? And I feel like I'm still becoming a disciple. I'm still working on being a true
Amen.
student of Jesus. And so grateful for my salvation. Cannot be more grateful for grace than I am today, but I'm still working on being a disciple, man.
Wow, and that's 2006, you said, baptized?
Yeah. Getting old.
Wow. Yeah, and I'm trying to add it up in my head, 15 plus spiritually, but I really love your answer, still becoming. I think that's the mindset we all need to have.
It's been a wild year of discovering what that really means, discovering that discipleship is an ongoing journey. There's no final resting point here on earth. So I'm trying to embrace that with joy rather than fear.
Well, boy, 15 years in the kingdom and becoming and learning. What are some of the great highlights, some of your favorite memories in your discipleship?
Whew. Man, almost too many to count. It's funny. This was the year that I hit the point where I've been a disciple longer than I ever was not one. Like, that's crazy. That'll mess you up. What I've learned this year about making disciples is that we need to love what we have, not be critical of it necessarily. Be constructive, don't be critical. And love who we're going to become. Love who God is making us into. Because he's clearly not done with us. Like, if you've experienced anything in the last year, you know God is not done refining you as an individual, as a family, as a ministry, as a church. God is busy helping you become something new. So embrace that. And I earnestly believe that as other folks in your community see your church becoming something, they're going to want it. They're going to be like, man, that is a hopeful group. That is a unified group. That is a faithful group. I want that too. I want to build something as well. I want to become something.
But becoming,
Awesome.
that's tough to do. And I really love what you said of loving the person you are now or the group you are now, but also the constructive love who you're becoming and where you're going. So a Dallas Willard quote, the person who you become is the greatest gift to your church. Person who you will become.
Ooh,
And so
come
love
on,
God,
Dallas.
work on yourself so that you can serve others, not just a selfish self-care thing,
Right.
but how is Jesus making me into a fisher of men? Because that's his vision for me, right?
Exactly.
So that quote reminds me to rest and work on myself sometimes. Any other advice you would give to someone in the Northwest trying to make disciples in this culture, time, and place?
I'm still looking to crack the code. I'll tell you what. My whole life, I have been really desperately looking for a way to make disciple making easy, and it's just not. There's a reason why. Being a disciple is a real challenge. I said before, I'm still working on being one myself, being a proper student of Jesus, and so the best advice I can give is relationship. It is not about Bible studies. It is not about first principles. Although those things are useful tools, they're valuable. The people who come into kingdom and stay are people with rock solid relationships. So I can just share Andrew Lamoth. He and his wife Olivia lead the church here in the Tri-Cities right now. And Andrew and I, we were studying the Bible with a guy named Juan. Pray for Juan. Juan is incredible. He's a barber. He is a dad. He and his girlfriend have a 1-year-old. He's an amazing guy, incredible dude. And he has his struggles. Like, he's got stuff he's trying to overcome. He's got demons in his past. And so trying to lay out a 10-step study program for him was never going to work. That kind of just do the work, just pray these prayers, read these things, that was never going to bring Juan a step closer to kingdom. What has brought him closer to kingdom, I think, as he's been studying the Bible, has been relationship. Getting up early with him, leaving my phone on in case he needs to call, checking in on him as a dad and as a person rather than as a potential disciple. And to see him build relationships throughout the church now, to start to get to know some of the married couples, some of the other folks, has been so rewarding, not just for him, but for me and Drew, to watch this guy discover real relationships centered on Jesus rather than, oh, we like the same sports team, or we both love wearing Nike, or all the, extremely, shallow things that we can latch onto with people. Build relationships. Discipleship happens in relationship, in the context of, loving one another. So don't start with be a disciple and then we'll start loving each other. Start with the loving each other, and discipleship will happen.
Wow, that's so valuable. Like you said earlier, loving the person you are and loving the person you're becoming, or not exclusively loving the potential disciple that you're going to make, but that father, that friend right now, loving their life and helping them through life right now. I easily get caught up in who you will become rather than for who you are right now.
Oh yeah, and we do this with
Mm-hmm.
people that we study the Bible with. We do this with our neighbors, with our families. We do this with people that we mentor in the church, where we go, oh man, if he was just this way, if she just had this figured out, if they could just do this, then
it's like falling in love with the idea of somebody rather than them, right?
Oh yeah, right? Oh man, if they just figure this one thing out, that's when we're going to be best friends, rather than I'm going to be a great neighbor, a great friend, a great brother, a great sister to this person, even though they're a mess. Because I need to remember, I had guys who hung out with 13-year-old Josh Benton, who was awful, who was just the worst. I wasn't even a person yet. I was like a creature. I was a pile of bones and insecurities that really needed Jesus. And they had every reason to just go, cool, sorry, dude, you're weird, you're crazy, you're immature, I was not worthy of the gospel, but somebody still found me to be that way. And so who am I to withhold that from somebody else?
Josh, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Of course, Joey, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for building family in this specific way here in the Northwest. I'm really excited to see what God does through not just this podcast, but through all the work that you and your wife are doing.
Hey family, thank you for watching this teaser video. If you'd like to listen to the entire interview, check out the podcast link in the description down below. Thank you.